Back to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Com. Rich Walsh alongside Mark Kaboly from The Athletic, and we're talking about the Steelers draft. Going to break it down tonight. Give us a call with your questions, what you like, what you didn't like. I know what I like. I like when Ireland Contracting does work to people's houses. They're really good at it. 412, wait, what's their number? 1-800-NEW-ROOF. Yeah, give them a call. If you need a roof, make sure you call Ireland Contracting. Give us a call right now on the Borders and Borders hotline, 412-575-2600. Mark, so many numbers. Sometimes I get confused on here. But we're talking about the Steelers, and we're only talking about the number 9 draft picks, 5 defense, 4 offense. You knew it was going to be a defensive-heavy draft, didn't you?
Well, that's how it's been for the past couple of years, especially early in the draft.
And why has their defense been the big story, the reason why they've been losing?
I mean, I don't think that defense is as bad as you thought. I thought they made great strides the past couple of years. I mean, they led the league in sacks, or first or second the past 2 years.
They let Derek Carr drive down the field on them.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about overall. You're talking about situational stats. That's situational plays. That's a little bit different. I mean, they do have a lot of talent on that defense right now, and I don't know. Did you help the offense out right now, right away in this draft? Probably not.
How about Benny Snell? What do you think of him?
See,
is this going to be a running back committee kind of thing?
You know, it's never has been, and I don't think it ever will be. I mean, so the Benny Snell pick was a little bit curious to me, just for the fact that it's a 4th-round pick. And in what scenario is he going to actually be in there if Connor gets hurt, if Samuel gets hurt? Those are guys that his best case scenario is what? A special teams guy, and a guy that you know can maybe be in there if somebody gets hurt. He's not going to be a goal line guy because James Conner's good at that. So that's someone where you scratch your head and you're like, okay, I understand what they're doing. They need a running back because they got some young guys, but are they going to help them now? Is Benny Snell going to help them this year? I don't think so.
Why did they bring in so many running backs then?
Well,
I mean, they were definitely targeting a running back.
Well, James Conner's entering the last year of his deal, I think next year. So
are they worried about his injuries, though?
I mean, you would have to imagine. I mean, if you look at anything with the Steelers, is if you have a couple injuries right in a row, especially soft tissue injuries, which, you know, I don't know if you could have prevented ankle injury from Conner, they start worrying about you a little bit. He's been hurt, you know, going back to his college year where he tore up his knee before the cancer. I'm not talking about the cancer. I'm talking about actual physical injuries.
Yeah.
Where you're talking about, he was hurt, what, 3 of the last 4 years? He misses the whole rookie season. He had shoulder injuries, hamstring injuries, knee injuries, and last year was the ankle injury. So you have to be a little bit careful. But Benny Snell, I mean, is he going to help you win a title this year? Probably not.
No. All right, let's go out to the phone lines. We're going to go out to David out on the south side. What's up, David?
Yeah, thanks for taking my call.
No problem. Thanks for calling.
I just wanted you to comment on why do you think it took so long for the Steelers finally address the second and third level of the defense? It's been kind of suspect. I just heard you two's conversation, and I mean the running backs were having a field day, all kinds of missed tackles, and do you think it was because they couldn't find the right fit?
Well, David, I think they did try to address it. I'll let Mark expand on this, but I think they did try to address it last year. They addressed it with the wrong personnel. Morgan Burnett, John Bostic didn't fit. Actually, they cut Bostic today. He's no longer with the team. I'd imagine they would have drafted Van Der Esch last year if he was available, but he wasn't. So now they got the guy that they wanted, the guy that they need to make their defense better.
Now, one thing about inside linebackers is there's so very few of them that do what they want to do nowadays, is that if you don't get that one guy in the draft, then you're not going to go pick him up off the scrap heap. So they spend the better part of 18 months trying to find a guy that fits that. So that's what it is. But if you look at the back half as well, they've had some misses. I mean, Artie Burns could have been a guy. I know people don't like him very much, but if he would have turned it up another notch last year, I mean, he could have made all the difference in this defense moving forward. He was a miss, but they did address that a little bit with Steven Nelson, and you got Joe Hayden. But sometimes you just, you don't get what you're looking for in the draft, so they try to supplement it a little bit in free agency, and you're not going to get very good guys in free agency when you're not willing to pay the money and, in positions where don't come readily available. So
Are you ready to write that down, that Artie Burns is a miss? I mean, are you going to give him another chance?
did
Does
you
he
ha-
have another chance?
I think he got training camp, and it's going to be very, very hard for him to make this team. And if you listen to anything Kevin Colbert, Mike Tomlin said while they were at the owners' meeting, they just totally bashed the guy, and typically those guys don't do that. So I don't think Artie Burns is in the future unless he has some kind of miraculous redevelopment here that will bring him,
And then he wouldn't be
training
in the
camp.
future because he'd price himself out of the market.
You're either going to cut him because he's no good, or he's going to be extremely good and he's going to go free agency. So regardless, they know that it's almost impossible for him to come back. He'd have to play right down the middle of the line of being somewhat decent, somewhat bad for them to want him back, for him to come back. But then do you want him back then?
Yeah.
So he's pretty much done.
All right, let's go back out to the phone lines. We got Chuck out in Clairton. What's up, Chuck?
Hey guys, how you doing tonight? I was just curious if you thought the Steelers should have traded up into the second round to get one of those prime time cornerbacks there, and also how many phone books are you sitting on tonight, Rich?
I'm not sitting on any phone books tonight, but thanks for calling. I appreciate that.
I'm really excited I got the first little prank call.
Yeah, it was kind of a prank call, but at least it was something good. Yeah, I mean, my chair's a little bit higher than.
Yeah, a couple.
I'm not a short guy. I'm 5'10".
Yeah.
How tall are you?
Well, I keep getting shorter by age.
Yeah, so I'm not like really. I'm probably average height. But anyways, I'm not sitting on any phone books. But hey, great call. I don't know if they had enough to trade up into the second round. They would have had to have given up a lot. You can't just give up a fourth rounder to move up into the second round.
Yeah, it was going to. Once you move that up into the first round, you're going to have to move up. Give up a whole heck of a lot to move up into the second round. They made it known that they weren't going. They wanted at least 2 picks on Friday. So, and really, you're going to take a fourth and a couple fifths to move up if you're a team trying to trade. So,
let me ask you this: did you hear anything? Do you think that they would have taken DK Metcalf if he was there? Seattle moved ahead of the Steelers for some reason.
That was late, though, wasn't it? Fourth round?
No, Metcalf was the third round. That was the pick before Johnson. He was taking the pick before Johnson to Seattle. DK Metcalf. Did you feel like they liked him?
No, because if you look what they got in Johnson, he's a guy who can do everything. He can catch the ball, run routes. He can play all 3 positions. Metcalf got a 4.3 speed and looks like Adonis when he takes his shirt off, but he can do one thing, and that's run deep.
Yeah, but isn't that what they need, a guy that can do one thing?
They would rather have a guy do about 7 things well rather than one thing great. So, I mean, basically, DK Metcalf was a poor man's version of Martavis Bryant. Martavis Bryant was probably more polished. So there's a reason why Metcalf fell to where he was, and it was because he's very limited in what he could do. The one thing he did was extremely well, but a lot of teams don't like that. They like to have versatility.
All right, let's go out to Dave out in Baldwin. What's up, Dave? Dave, you there?
Yeah,
Hey,
that was exactly my question.
Okay.
I was sitting there chomping at the bit at the thought of getting DK Metcalf with 2.
Yeah, I thought that too when he was still there and he was best available by Mel Kiper, and they're talking about him, that I thought that the Steelers would take him because he would be the poor man's version of Martavis Bryant.
Plus, another thing is he was coming off a broken neck. I mean, that's nothing to sneeze at. I'm sure all of his medicals were clear too, you would think, but the Steelers have their own medical staff to look at this guy as well. So, I mean, when you put that all together and, very limited what he can do, even though he runs a 4.3, he has some medical issues, and they probably thought it was a safer bet with Deontay Johnson.
I want to talk more about what they did today. I like the tight end. He might not see the field for a couple years, or he's a big target. I'm sure Ben's got to like that. We'll break him down and a couple of the other guys they drafted late after this break, so stay right there.